Hi folks and welcome to this new video. I believe everyone loves a good Visual Studio Code extension, and so do I. Just right after the beginning of the new year, I have gathered my top 5 most useful Visual Studio Code extensions for 2022. Over the years, many features from third-party developers have become baked in functionality into Visual Studio Code, like the famous bracket pair colorizer. Nowadays, you don't need an extension for displaying the bracket pair, simply turn on the Visual Studio Code setting with this setting I'm just showing you right now. So let's open up Code and hop over to your settings and simply search for bracket pair. And there you see bracket pair colorization is enabled, and that simply shows you the opening and closing bracket. Now let's hop into my top 5 Visual Studio Code extension shortly after today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. As you guys know, those videos wouldn't be possible without a sponsor, so Skillshare is a learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. Invest in yourself and your personal growth. So I always get asked whether you're interested in joining Skillshare, and the reason is simple. I want to learn more things, I want to get better at the things I do and love. And for this purpose, I highly suggest that you will try out Skillshare. You get a free month with this video, and just look at the JavaScript toolkit from Christian Heimann. I talked about this in my previous video. This guy is a principal program manager at Microsoft, and he really gets very deep into the JavaScript language and into certain techniques where it can be better. I really believe that these courses will help you to be a better programmer and to get more work done, to get the work done more professional, to be better at writing tests, at quality assurance, and in general, just to be a better programmer than you were yesterday. So the first 1,000 people to use the link in the comment below will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So I highly recommend to try out this platform. And now back to the regular scheduled video. Let's be honest, if you really care about your source code, you are probably using some kind of version control software, or short for VCS. Today, the de facto standard is Git. I'm sure I don't have to explain the benefits of version control software or system, but if you use Git with Visual Code, you have to install the GitLand extension. And that is what I have done already. So what is GitLand? GitLand is Git supercharged for Visual Studio, right? So if you click in any line of your source code, which is under source control with Git, you see the editor. When was the last edit made? In this case, 2 years ago. You see the exact timestamp. You see the Git message with, in this case, is move email address to the environment file. And you see the changes, right? But that's not all. You see this messages for every single line, which is under source control. One thing which is very cool about GitLand is that you can navigate from the various Git commits, right? So with those 3 buttons, you can hop or change or look back to the changes. So now you see on the right side the very latest change. In this case, I have changed my LinkedIn address, and you see the changes there, right? So if you go back in time, you see the change there that it introduced the emojis. If you go back once more, you see an old email address, which is removed and now to an environment variable. And here is the first commit, right? So you see an empty file and then all the changes. You can also navigate between those different commit messages. You can open the change, you can compare it with a diff tool, and you can navigate back to the beginning. Yeah, it's much easier and you don't mess it up like I did. Back to the social links part. Another thing which is very cool, right? You see the git play message right there. But if you want to have an overlook about the complete file, you can just turn it on, toggle file play, and you see who made the changes, the git messages. Right there is, okay, yeah, that's not a user which is associated with my email, but it was me, of course. You can also make some kind of heat map right there. So you see there, the LinkedIn is quite often, not quite frequently changed. Yeah, file changes again. Those are the last changes which were made. So that is basically everything I really use with GitLand in Visual Studio Code, I'm sure you're using Git, you have to install this extension. The second extension, which I use all the time, is Prettier. Prettier is an opinionated code formatter, and surely you can install it via the extension tab and simply search for Prettier. In my case, it is already installed, and you can set, or you should set up Prettier as your default code format, right? So if you type in format document ref, you can configure the default code formatter and it should be Prettier. Just imagine for our demo purpose, we're just introducing a span element right there, test element. And imagine you just put it right on the left side. Now, if you're just gonna hit format document ref, Prettier, it is automatically formatted or intended, yeah. It attends the code, it makes auto line breaks if the line is too long, test element with very long content, because why not, and so on. I'm not always sure if, yeah, now it's has put the span opening and closing tag, the separate line and the content in an own line. You also can set up in your settings order format, like format on save, which I usually highly recommend. If you change it to format on save, and let's say we put it right the left side again, I'm not clicking or executing the format action explicit. I just hit save and the code is formatted automatically. You can configure Prettier pretty much. My third pick is without a doubt Sonar Cloud. I'm a heavy user of Sonar Cloud in our company and Sonar Cube for some private projects, and I highly recommend Sonar Cloud for your IDE because, well, it saves you quite a lot of time. I mean, it's fantastic. What it does is it analyzes your code for some kind of bugs, some kinds of things that are introduced in your code that maybe is causing future problems, right? So in this case, code is unreachable. Most of the times, if you're using, for example, .NET, the compiler puts out the same message, but in this case, it's JavaScript, and well, yeah, the message is from Sonar Cloud. It always puts up some references where to look up, and it does the very same for some security hotspots. If you're storing your password in plain text in your application, and I would highly recommend to install Sonar Cloud. Sonar Cloud is free, it's open source, and as you see there, it's available for quite a lot of different IDEs. Now, my number 4 pick is Wallaby.js. This is actually the only extension which is not free. You have to use a license if you're using for commercial purposes or private repositories. If you're using it for an open source project, you don't have to pay a license. It automatically detects if your Git repository is public, and then it's free to use. Otherwise, you have to pay. It is a test runner for JavaScript, which shows you live unit testing in the browser. It shows you the state of variables, the expected result, the actual result. If it differs, it shows you any kind of failures, and it's blazingly fast. It doesn't build the whole project completely new. If you are executing tests or making changes, it caches most of the files, and it's fantastic. It's so fast. It's really a joy to write unit tests with Wallaby.js. So I would highly recommend it. They offer a free trial. I believe the trial lasts about 15 days. And yeah, this is probably enough time to figure out if Wallaby.js is something that you want to use or not. My 5th pick for the Visual Studio Code extensions for 2022 is Markdown all-in-one. Probably every developer have to deal at some point with Markdown files, even just if you're creating some kind of README or license files, or even some kind of deeper documentation, you have to deal with some kind of Markdown. And Markdown support for Visual Studio Code in general is not that great. You have a preview, that's fine, and you have an editor, but to make really advantage of Markdown, you have to install some kind of extension, and Markdown all-in-one is that extension that you're probably looking for, right? You can use multiple keyboard shortcuts. You can see there's some kind of to-do list. You can easily create tables with Markdown all-in-one. You probably have so many different commands, right, that you have to read up the documentation and just give it a try. You can also, as you see right there, make some complex mathematical formulas. You have auto-completion if you're using some kind in the file system, and quite a lot. It tremendously makes your markdown workflow much easier, and I would highly recommend that you try it out. It has almost 4 million installs, 115 probably all 5-star ratings, so it is a fantastic extension to use with your markdown workflow. Alright folks, let me know in the comment below if you're already using those extensions that I talked about in this video, or if you do have any other extensions that you want to share with the community right there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.